Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going deep into the mind-body connection, where thoughts and emotions, they can actually show up physically.
Yeah.
You shared some really fascinating research and even some of your own insights about this new approach to healing that mixes osteopathy and psychology and even mindfulness.
It's pretty amazing stuff.
It's pretty mind-blowing, like
Yeah.
some of the things you were talking about.
It challenges traditional thinking for sure.
It really does. And thankfully, we have you here. You're the expert in somatic therapies to break it all down for us.
Happy to be here.
So one of the things that I thought was so interesting from what you shared was this technique, focusing on the abdomen,
Yeah.
especially the intestines.
Yeah.
Not the first place you think of when you think of healing.
It's not the first place.
Right,
No.
Right. So what is the deal with that?
Well, you know how, sometimes when you get nervous, you get that fluttery feeling in your stomach.
Yeah.
So that, my friend, is your second brain at work.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. So your gut actually has its own intricate nervous system,
Okay.
packed with nerve cells that are very in tune with our emotions.
Wait, hold up.
Mhm.
The gut has its own nervous system.
It does.
That's wild.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
And these nerve cells, especially those in the gut and near your aorta, they become more active when you're under stress.
Okay.
So think of it as like a chain reaction.
Yep.
Anxiety hits, boom, these nerve cells light up, causing your gut, even your aorta, to tense up. And all that tension has to go somewhere.
Right.
And it often pulls on your lumbar spine,
Which is your lower back.
your lower back. Yeah. Okay. So stress equals clenched gut, which then tugs on our lower backs.
Basically.
That's a connection. I had not made that before.
Yeah. It's pretty common.
But how does this new healing technique that you were talking about,
Yeah.
how does that address that?
So that constant tension from contracted muscles can create these tiny misalignments.
And your spine.
Yeah.
And your spine. So let's say you've got a back issue, maybe a herniated disc, right?
Mhm.
This tension can pinch nerves, restrict blood flow,
Ouch.
and that equals pain,
Yeah.
sometimes a lot of pain.
Yeah.
So this new technique uses gentle, focused touch on the abdomen,
Okay.
really tuning into those subtle movements caused by the tension and guiding those tissues to a point of release.
Interesting.
Imagine someone carefully untying a really tight knot.
Okay. So you're easing the physical, the manifestation physically of that stress, which is amazing in itself. But I think what's so interesting is how people say that their anxiety lessens along with the pain relief.
That's right.
It's as if that tension was holding on to more than just muscle tightness. It had an emotional grip, too.
I've seen that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you actually use a really cool analogy to describe this,
Yeah.
the pendulum.
Yeah, the pendulum.
Could you walk us through that?
Yeah, so, picture a pendulum swinging back and forth. And now imagine something like disrupting that swing,
Yeah.
making it get stuck in a repetitive loop.
Okay.
That's kind of what happens in our bodies when a thought or an emotion gets stuck.
Mm-hmm.
It creates this pattern of tension
Right.
and restriction that just keeps repeating.
You called it mental chewing gum,
Yes,
which is
I like that.
incredibly accurate.
It is very true.
It's like that thought or feeling is on constant replay
Yes,
in our minds and our bodies.
exactly. And you think about someone dealing with chronic anxiety.
Yeah.
They might have a constantly tight gut,
Oh, yeah.
which then affects their posture, how they move,
Right.
even how they experience the world around them.
Wow.
It becomes this vicious cycle.
Yeah. So it makes you wonder, by working with our bodies in that way,
Yeah,
could we actually be retraining our brains?
that's a great question.
If we're addressing that physical tension, are we also breaking that cycle,
Yeah,
both physically and mentally?
that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the answer is a resounding yes.
Okay.
Our bodies are really incredible at holding on to these patterns.
Yeah.
It's almost like memories stored in our tissues,
Interesting.
And this gentle guiding of those restricted movements that we talked about earlier, it kind of helps the body hit, like the reset button.
Wow.
And as a result, muscle tension decreases, circulation improves, and the nervous system overall calms down.
That's amazing.
It's pretty amazing.
So we've talked about how that physical tension is linked to our emotions,
Mhm.
but I'm curious, what about flipping the script?
Yeah.
Can our minds actually influence our bodies
Okay.
in a similar way?
Now that's where it gets really exciting.
Okay.
What if we could achieve similar results to this hands-on technique,
Right.
but by using only focused attention?
Okay.
Turns out there's a good chance we can.
Really?
Have you ever heard of the ideomotor phenomenon?
It is. And yeah, it makes you wonder, like, what else are we capable of with this? This has been a really interesting deep dive.
Yeah.
So many like aha moments for me. I don't know about you, but
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, the idea that we can influence our well-being just by focusing our attention, that's powerful.
It's huge. It really highlights that connection between our minds and bodies, right?
Yeah.
And what's so exciting is the potential this approach has to like offer a whole new way to think about healing and self-awareness.
Imagine that, like really tapping into those subtle internal signals to like unlock this whole other level of control over our well-being.
It's like we've been given a key to a door we didn't even know existed.
That's a great way to put it. And behind that door is like, I don't know, a whole world of possibilities for like living a healthier and more fulfilling life, right?
Totally.
This has been a really interesting deep dive.
Yeah, a lot to think about.
A lot to think about. Maybe even like a challenge to all of us to like pay a little bit closer attention to those like subtle signals that our bodies are sending us.
Absolutely.
And just see what we discover.
See what you find, yeah.
This has been great. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.